Hello there. Some housekeeping. I filled that void behind me. I got my own custom sign. Problem is, it is insanely bright. Now, I can change the brightness, but the problem with that is, and this was an insight that I didn't think of, when I do that, although that doesn't look too bad with this camera, so because it's LED, science lesson, when you dim LED lights, the light isn't actually getting dimmer. What happens is the light is flashing incredibly brightly, but because there are gaps, our brain doesn't literally perceive those gaps. We just perceive it as being more and more dim, and the dimmer it is, the bigger those gaps are. But at 100%, it's fully illuminated. Now, here's another I've just been having technology problems. This is my phone right here. That's why it's extremely wide. I do have my regular camera over here, and that looks so much better. But the problem is, if I dim my light, now you can see. So because the cameras have the rolling shutter, it's super, like this over here, that's terrible. I know that none of you want to see that. So I have to leave the brightness all the way up, but it's kind of obnoxious. Like, it's cool. I like this view, but I feel like this view's the better one. I don't know. I'm figuring stuff out. Yeah, that's a little better. So now I have yeah, that looks pretty decent. So I don't know. You guys tell me, this or this. I don't know. The camera is better. It's a little more cinematic, but I like the way the phone looks slightly better. Camera, phone, camera, phone. We're just going to do phone today for absolutely no reason at all. If it wasn't obvious from the video title, Sand Vagina O'Houlihan has returned, and he's even more pissed off than he was last time. So he and I had a second debate, and he was even worse. He was more gaslighty, more emotional, more illogical, and more insultive, and it's an absolutely horrible video. I was gonna upload it, but I thought it would actually be better to sort of like break it down and talk about the context behind what's going on behind it. So I'm going to be reacting to myself, which is, I don't know, a little bit cringe, but eh. So we all know he's extremely pissed off at me because I told the joke about the potato famine. And then we tried to have this conversation about, like, he's obviously just a SJW, and he says, like, if anybody that looks like me, a white piece of shit, in his own words, tries to, like, make jokes or make fun of historically marginalized people, then I'm just a racist and an oppressor and whatever. Except he completely capitulated to the idea that jokes with racial themes are fine as long as you have the skill or talent for it. I could talk about this, like, forever, but the bottom line is, what these people completely fail to understand is the people that you claim you are standing up for or protecting in huge numbers have no problem with this. Like, I don't make racial jokes. I don't punch down, except like at flat earthers, I guess. There's a difference between just a joke, hate speech, or just insulting somebody for no reason other than you hate them. And the kind of jokes that you hear on, like, the Boondocks and South Park and at Comedy Central roasts and these things, those, I mean, those go beyond the pale of what I would try to, like, get away with or whatever. But they're just jokes. It's not real. And like I said, people participate in those, and they have no problem with it. And if you do have a problem with it, you don't have to watch. Now, there's a fine line between just, like, completely unjustified, unwarranted hate or just mocking a tragedy for no reason. You know, the joke about Israel and the bombing and Palestinians. The satire there, it has to be done in the correct way, and I think the way, like, The Onion did it is actually good. So, like, an example of this, I've gotten so many comments from people like, you made fun of a genocide. No, because even these crybabies would approve of this. Let's say, like, we're on we're on Piers Morgan or whatever, and it's Anna Kasparian, whatever her name is, and some psychopath who's defending Israel on the other side. And the psychopath says, Israel has the most moral army in the world. And Anna or whoever says, oh yeah, they're so moral, they tell the Palestinians in advance where to go to get bombed. That's sarcastic satire about the situation, about a tragedy. And it's a joke. It's kind of more of an insult at the oppressors in this case. And nobody cries about that. But me just repeating it because I'm who I am, I don't have permission to do that. It's just, none of it makes any logical sense. And I know it doesn't make any logical sense because at no point does he ever try to actually logically engage with what I'm saying or what I'm trying to say or talk about. It's just insults and these attempts to like race bait me to like say something grossly offensive, like tell a joke about the actual Holocaust or whatever, which I don't do those things. Now, it appeared that he never really wanted to get up there and talk to me until I specifically made an Irish joke, and he's Irish in New York City, although what's his genealogy? I have no idea. I'm 1/4 Irish, so doesn't that mean I can make that joke? But he's more pissed at me because of my take of the choose the man or the bear thing. Now, I uploaded a video where I discussed that with a guest, but I posted my take on it on TikTok. Now, I'm not going to re-upload that video, but I'm going to read the script from it just so you get a sense. This is what pissed him off so much. Not only would I pick the man over the bear, but picking a woman over a man, that's barely justified. The arguments against choosing the man are all sexist, and I can prove it because they're the same arguments that racist people make. There's a difference among the homicide rates between African Americans, whites, Hispanics, Asians, etc. If you compare African Americans and whites, for example, you get a rough per capita difference of a factor of 4.86. I'm going off script here. I got this from, I didn't look at the homicide statistics because that really actually just captures victims. I looked at actual arrest records, just for the record here. Okay, so question, would you cross the street if you saw an African American man walking toward you? Now, I'm guessing you wouldn't because you know you shouldn't judge individuals based on group statistics. But somebody could argue, but the statistics justify it. Well, they actually don't, because if you run the numbers, and I've done this, you find that roughly 99.95% of whites and 99.85% of African Americans never commit any violent crimes. It is actually lower than that because we're assuming every single violent crime is committed by a different person because we're just doing the total number of them. But it doesn't matter because that goes both ways. In either case, when you compare racial groups, you find that they vary by like 0.1% or less between them. So when you accept this logic, you're actually accepting a not all men argument. Going off script again, I decided to put that in there specifically because I kept seeing people over and over again being like, oh my God, he's doing the not all men thing. So there you go. These people, they cling to not all men arguments when they're desperately trying to not be racist, right? Well, I mean, I guess I would agree with not looking at different races and saying, well, these are the more homicidal ones and these are the less homicidal ones. So anyways, back to the script. I ran the numbers between men and women using crime data from the FBI from 2011. And here's what you find. If you again treat every single incident as being committed by unique individuals, then you find approximately 1 out of every 156 women and 1 out of every 156 men, and 1 out of every 656 women commit some violent crime. This works out to exactly 4.1 times the rate. So are men over 4 times more violent than women? Well, no. That's the exact same kind of logic that you get when you compare homicide rates and conclude that African Americans are almost 5 times more violent than whites. If you run the numbers by or if you do it by population numbers, you find that men and women differ in the rate of violent crime by less than 0.5%. So, do crimes go unreported? Yeah. Does that go both ways? Yeah, of course it does. So, we don't know to what extent. So, don't come at me with the unknowns. Going off script again. That is another thing people do. They just artificially inflate and say that, well, actually, there are 100 times more rapes or whatever than actually happen. I'm sure it's higher than what is reported, but just making those jumps to make your case is completely asinine. Anyways, back to the script. The point is, if men are more dangerous than bears, then so are women, because we're 99.5% the same. And for the record, we don't have to guess how dangerous bears really are. People have run the numbers, and the bear is worse than the man. I had a little screenshot. I'll put it up here for you to take a look at. But a man could do so many other things. Okay, but the odds are overwhelming that any random man wouldn't do anything. And the odds that a bear is going to do anything to you, well, those are also low, but probably 10,000 times higher than the man. I'm going to go off script here again, because from what all the extra conversations I've heard is the whole point of the thing is to be able to talk about, but like a bear could kill you and that's the worst thing, but a man could, it's just ginning up all these hypotheticals, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. And people say some like really heartbreaking things like, I won't have to see the bear again at a family reunion. And you hear that and like, that's like a fucking gut punch. But all of those things that are brought up, although they are decent points, that's still just that's just loaded talking points used to say, or used to bolster the conclusion that you have to make, which is assume that this man is a violent killer or rapist or something like that, when that's absolutely not how you should view individuals. Is the worst thing that a man could do far scarier and worse than a chance encounter with a bear? Yeah, I 100% agree, but this is the point where you lose me, is that you end up actually picking the bear in the thought experiment as if the actual premise is, would you rather get kidnapped and tortured and raped or whatever, or run into a bear in the woods? No, the premise, that is not the premise. The premise is just a chance encounter with one or the other. And to argue for the worst case scenario is just to say, I assume that man right there is whatever. But women are scared of men, and that's the point. Okay, some people are scared of immigrants. Now, why are their concerns unfounded? Because their numbers, or the numbers, don't support it. Assuming a black man walking down the sidewalk or someone crossing your border is a rapist or a murderer is no different than assuming a man in the woods is a rapist or a murderer. Your concerns aren't justified. Now, I'm going to go off script here again because this is something that makes people's heads explode. Because they'll typically say like 1 in 4 women at some point in their life are sexually assaulted or something like that. And that's a very problematically high number, obviously. But to say that, somebody actually said this to me. They gave that statistic, and then they said, the odds that the bear are going to harm me are less than 25%. And it's like, you got to be kidding me. You cannot compare lifetime statistics to idiosyncratic events, okay? That's not how it works, because in order to like guarantee that this is going to happen to you in the woods, you'd have to stay in the woods for 4 lifetimes, because it's 1 in 4 for a lifetime statistic. But it's worse than that because we're just running into somebody in the woods. So you actually have to multiply it by the number of days in a year and probably the number of hours in a day. And that works out to something like the odds are like 1 in 2.5 million or something like that. And things that have odds that are that low, we all view things like that as things that just aren't going to happen. If we actually thought that way, then none of us would leave our house. Because if I leave my house, I could get struck by lightning. If I don't leave my house, I won't. back to the script. How dare you delegitimize somebody's experience? Okay, I was actually raped by a woman once. This is a few years ago. And I have a different view. So does my opinion not matter because it's not popular or because I'm a man or whatever? And also, not all women, and I know because I've talked to them, think the same way about this issue. Okay? I'm going slightly off the script here. So, I saw a video today by this extremely popular TikToker, and like he was saying, not only do you need to pick the bear every single time. I was like, okay, there are women that feel differently about this than you. So what you're doing right now is something that would make your butthole turn inside out, which is you're mansplaining to them that they're wrong, right? So I just find that to be a terrific irony. So anyways, it is sexist to generalize. And in this case, I went on a little bit of a tangent, but we're talking about like just saying that all women have the same experience and feel the same way. So I'm speaking on their behalf, or I'm telling you this is what women think. And that's just a stereotype. Am I saying that a victim has no right to have trauma? Hell no, that is not what I'm saying. But other people's trauma is not a card that you get to pull to make sweeping generalizations. Just like the political right did, for example, when Molly Tibbetts was killed. And for victims, our experience is not a microcosm of what men or women are really like. We know this because we have the numbers. The other thing about this is, again, the people who have experienced trauma, they absolutely need to be supported and talked through and do whatever you can to validate their experience and their feelings, but to help them live a life of peace as well. Because this whole, you should view the man in the forest as being dangerous or whatever, is really not meaningfully different at all than just telling a victim, oh yeah, you're never going to be safe again. You should always assume that this kind of thing is going to happen. That is absolutely inappropriate and that is not how therapy for people that have gone through that goes at all. Okay, finally, this is taking so much longer than I thought it would. Again, compare this to racial arguments. Do you criticize people who want to shut down the border because someone in their family was killed by an undocumented person? I hope you do. I hope you view immigrants as people and not statistics. And I hope you view men that way too. I said all of those things, and most of the feedback I got was supportive. I would say probably, this is kind of a weird way of doing the metric, but there might actually be more comments not supporting me, like comments on the video that way. But the comments where people were saying, yes, this makes like perfect sense and all that type of stuff, those had by far more upvotes or whatever. No, that is not scientific, but I think it is. I mean, it's obviously better than nothing. So that's what I said that set the entire world on fire. So with that in mind, now let's get back to the pissed off little leprechaun with sand in his vagina. Like I said, it's not a great performance on my part. I actually, after I watched it, I thought I did better than I originally did, because it's really just a train wreck. That's because I couldn't talk to him in any like sensible, reasonable, rational way, because he's just an absolute pathetic pile of goop. And you're going to see that I spend a lot of time trying to, it sounds like I'm trying to do gotchas, and I do despise him and he's a piece of shit. So I was kind of trying to expose him, but it was more of, I do this all the time. Try to point out logical inconsistencies.
Before we start the debate, can I just ask you to stop blocking people? I've gotten a number of messages from people saying you're blocking them.
No, because your little crybaby fans reported my last live stream, so I'm absolutely gonna do that. Yeah, I had no choice. I'm not letting Orwellian crybabies dictate what I am and am not allowed to do. So that isn't going to happen.
I'm just confused. Is the fascist who's blocking people calling other people Orwellian?
You don't even know what the definition of fascism is. So again, he is all he does. He puts a label on me, I think, every single time he talks. So fascist, it's the same thing as just calling somebody you don't like a Nazi. So yeah, the whole shutting people down, cancel culture thing, I find that to be very Orwellian, very Stalinistic, and his strategy is just like this. It's like they're the secret police going around trying to get somebody to say something that will get them in trouble. It's just entrapment, and it's just completely disgusting and childish and idiotic.
I was just checking. I just wanted to make sure. So, can you?
Hey, I'm checking too. What is fascism?
Can you perhaps tell the people that
we're literally not going to do anything until you tell me what fascism is? So I'm trying to figure out if he's an idiot.
Authoritarian, right-wing government that is premised upon the idea of elevating a personality over principles, and that uses authority and force in order to control a people.
That was okay. That middle thing about elevating personality over people wasn't very good, though.
It's a core tenet of fascism.
It's not. It's fascism has only been realized maybe twice. And it happened.
It's a core tenet of fascism. I didn't say it's what's happened in the past. I said it's a core.
He's not exactly wrong that is in practice how fascism has been done, but I wouldn't call that like a core tenet of what fascism is.
Of fascism. This debate will go a lot smoother if you listen to what I say as opposed to make stuff up.
Buddy, you already have sand in your vagina, okay? Knock it off or we're not doing this. You said you're going to be logical and you're going to come up here with all these logical things, and you said you're the emotional one. I'm not doing this. It's not... We had some DMs going back and forth. And in comment sections on a video... He did. And he said, like, you're scared to debate me because you know I'm going to come in with facts and logic and just all this other stuff. Really, he's terrified of me, and I'll talk about that later. Worth it. It's actually really annoying, okay? So if you can't calm down, we're not doing this.
I'm not emotional. You're the one who wanted to deflect.
Yes, you are. The entire reason you're up here is because you took personal offense to a joke. So just stop. He has gone out of his way big time since this to be like, well, it wasn't about the potato thing. And that's the entire reason he came up to talk to me, because he hated that bear video I made, but he had been watching a live stream I was doing for a long time before, and he only jumped in after the potato thing.
I didn't take personal offense.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
So now you're a liar.
I'm going to simply ask you, this is a really simple request. Can you simply ask the people in the comments to abide by certain behavior? Because believe me,
no, I don't control what other people do.
Debate,
who's the fascist controlling person now?
Supporting me, don't you think?
I was doing that with people who I know, or who I highly suspect are reporting, because I think cancel culture is Stalinistic and Orwellian.
I'm not surprised that a white middle-class dude would find...
You're a white middle-class dude. That's literally what you are.
In any way feel or...
If you didn't see the first video, he said, oh, these fucking white pieces of shit. I was like, are you white? And he said, none of your fucking business. They always do shit like that because they know that they're hypocrites. You are a white middle-class person. Or are you rich or poor? Exactly. God,
I'm sorry, is that simulating your brain right now?
Look, the emotional ad hominem attacks. Look, it's every single time he talks to me, he has to attach some insult. Already happening.
Wait. I'm sorry. Aren't you using sound effects in order to try to demean and undermine my credibility? And you're complaining about me making ad homs?
Yes, sound effects is the same thing. The
inconsistency in your argument. If you're going to try to mock
he's so good. It's because they practice this shit all the time. He is so good at bringing up gotchas. He actually is extremely good at it. But not that that's honorable.
Buddy, don't be a crybaby.
You are claiming you're not emotional, and then you're doing all these stupid... So I have a question. Why did you perpetuate a harmful gender stereotype by using this little man bitch thing right here? Why did you... Okay, not that I give a shit, but again, I'm trying to point out the hypocrisy. That.
Sure. If you want to derail the conversation onto another topic, happy to take the bait. I believe that the term bitch, and I feel as though I've gotten enough feedback from women, a few of other women who would contradict this, then feel free to bring them up and they can try to educate me. I have been given enough feedback that I understand that the term bitch now is considered a genderless term that is used in order to connotate someone who's being whiny or being a crybaby.
And now let's say a woman is severely abused over and over and over again by like her husband or whatever, like Steven Crowder's wife or whatever. She's obviously not going to, well, I'm not going to speak like for a specific person, but there are obviously millions of women who are going to say like, no, we actually just do find this derogatory, and buy a thesaurus and just be a better person and sound smarter. So like, the thing with these SJWs is they demand that we structure our society around like fragile small cases. Like, yeah, there are huge groups of people that have been treated like shit for vast stretches of time, but they act as if they're all a monolith and they think the same. And now he's saying women don't care when you toss the term bitch around. And that's obviously not the case. So it's just so stupid. Where does that come from?
Both men, that is used against.
Now, again, I don't care. If your feelings are hurt, then I'll be like, if I respect you or whatever, or even if I don't know you, but I'll be like, oh, I'm sorry about that. But then I will make sure that I steer clear of you, or I'll modify my speech around you. Or you can leave.
Both men and women.
And where does that come from?
Likely comes from a sexist slur that would have been used to undermine the
right. So those are the roots of it.
Yeah,
so
correct.
why are you perpetuating a harmful gender stereotype? I gotta tell you guys something that's absolutely hilarious. I don't have the screenshots of this anymore, but he said that, and then I wrote the comment, "Oh, look at you, Mr. Consistency, perpetuating a harmful gender stereotype." This was so incredibly dumb. Somebody said, they replied to that and said, "I'm the one perpetuating the stereotype." Why? Because I insinuated that that's what he meant by it. So I can't believe how wild that is. Calling somebody out for doing it means you're the one perpetuating the stereotype. I wish I would have remembered that. Because at the end of that last discussion I had with him, he said, if I was black, would you tell people to type a watermelon emoji? So he's the one doing that thing. He's just a closet racist, apparently.
Because I believe what's happened is women have taken that word back in order to make incel, insecure men feel.
Are you a woman?
By calling.
Are you a woman? Are you a woman?
Me?
Did you take the word back? Are you a woman?
Can I continue speaking?
Are you a woman?
Can I continue speaking?
Have you taken that word back? Are you a woman?
Can I continue speaking?
You can after you answer my question.
If you're going to keep interrupting,
I will keep interrupting you.
Weird,
you don't get
right?
to decide how this is going to go. So are you a woman? Did you take it back?
Soft, that's fine. Sure, no, I'm not a woman.
Okay, then how come you have the right to do it? Do you say the N-word too? Because I hear that they're taking that back. That's why it's in... I think I had a good case here. I don't know. Argue about it in the comments. Pop culture.
Correct. The N-word's not used against white people in order to be able to tear them down.
Right, so the question is, that's not the point. The point is it's been taken back. Been taken back, so are you going to co-opt it?
Are you going to just keep...
You co-opted bitch. Are you going to co-opt that too? Because that's how it works, right? Yes. Answer the question.
Sure.
See, you're actually terrified to answer honestly.
Really, because my answer was pretty clear. I'll say it again. Because black people do not endorse the idea of using the N-word in order to use it against white people, in order to call out...
well, let me play that.
White people being racist. That's not how...
So that's not even remotely close to the spirit of the question. The spirit of the question is the word's been taken back, and we've neutered its offense on us. Or some people are claiming that it doesn't bother me anymore. I'm going to take it and I'm going to own up to it. That's what's actually happening with bitch. Now, other people have said that about the N-word. So his whole thing about like, well, no, because bitch is used to make fun of white guys or insecure white incel betas or whatever, and that's not how the N-word is used. He completely missed the point.
Have taken back that word. Women, on the other hand, have decided to start using the word bitch to target
Are you a woman?
Can I please
Exactly.
finish?
Are you a woman?
In order to target incel, insecure little man babies.
Well, that's
and
not
make
me.
them feel, oh, you're
They use it against each other too.
grossly insecure. Are you joking right now?
No. So are you a woman?
I believe I've answered that question before.
So you're not a woman, so you have not taken anything back, so what gives you the right to do it?
Because the word has been taken back.
Yeah, by women, according to you. So what gives you the right to do it?
Because of the fact that it's been taken back as a way of
By
weaponizing
women.
against
You're
men
not one.
who
So what gives
are-
you the right?
I just explained it. Because the word has been new.
So I think he's absolutely caught here in his SJW logic, and he won't answer the question. So, I mean, not really. I think he's kind of trying to answer the question, like bravo, but he's mostly just insulting me, saying, I can say it because you're a piece of shit, whatever. Here's a case where I see this in the real world. Where I live, there are really not very many African Americans where I live, but about half the population are Hispanic people, mostly from Mexico. I cannot tell you how much I hear the N-word every single day, right? I don't know what makes these kids, these bozos, think that they have the right to say it. Now, I get it. They hear it all the time when they listen to music and stuff like this. I first experienced this when I went to college. There were a lot of Polynesian people on the football team, and they would say it all the time. And us poor, sheltered little white kids from the Midwest, we were like, why are they doing that? We did not understand it. I was like, I would never say it. I don't have a problem when black people say it, but like, what gives them the right? I don't understand where you're like, well, I'm in a minority group, so I can say, I don't know. And look, I'm not going to sit here and be offended on the behalf of black people. That's not what I'm going to do. But I don't understand it. So I don't know. I just wanted to go off about that.
Due to the fact that it's been taken back in order to use against men like yourself who are insecure, misogynistic, sexist.
It's been
pieces of
taken
shit.
back by women. You're not.
I didn't say taken back by women.
Yes, you did.
To only be used by women. When did I say that?
Oh boy.
Because
So he kind of got me there, but he never actually did. And I kind of moved on here, but he never answered the question about what gives him the right, because I should have put it back to the N-word. I've said the N-word so many times. I mean, in this live stream, I've said, quote, the N, whatever. I never say that word. But yeah, he has no right to say that. And he would say it's because he's not part of that group. He's not part of this group. And even if women were like, oh yeah, we give you permission, we don't care. Okay. I have been told by black friends that I have, like, we don't care if you say it. I am never going to do that. And it would have been nice if I could have asked him that question, but my brain was going a Brazilian miles per hour during this, and it never popped out.
hang on. If you want to take a vote right now, if women have a problem with me calling an insecure baby bitch man a bitch, feel free to ask women that question.
Why are you
ad
ad hominem?
women have
He
an
has
issue.
no argument. It's just insults.
You're the one who pulled up the comment.
It was your comment.
Correct.
That you said. You're the one ad hominem.
You're okay. Sorry, Cupcake.
That
Do
you
remember
brought
yesterday when
up.
You said my vagina is dry. What was that?
I said that today also.
No. You said that in a video yesterday and in a comment on my line. On my
No,
video.
I said it to your face during the live stream, and I said it to your
you
face
said it-
today.
Jeez, you really have a problem with emotional regulation. Can we stop talking over each other? I think that will just be
projection.
better for people who are listening. Does that
Okay,
sound
so I
good
guess
to
it's
you?
my turn. Oh, well, see the awkward silence, and then
No awkward silence. So I'll finish again. It seems pretty performative, and something I've seen you do of late is weaponizing issues pertaining to oppressed people in order to be able to protect what it is you do. And I'll give you an example of that.
I do not do anything like that.
You're purporting okay, there goes that insecure man baby laugh.
Dude, okay, if you ad hom one more time, I'm kicking you out there. Now, can you act? I don't know why I said that. Can you actually act logically? He said this, I think, in our last discussion. He's like, before the man bear video, I really liked you and I loved your content and watching it. And I heard him say this on this live stream he did too. And it's like, okay. So now just all of a sudden, I'm this horrible person, but this whole time you liked me until I made fun of you and had this one take that you didn't like.
Sure thing. As the man who said that my vagina is dry, sure thing, no problem. I will
said it
try
had
to
sand
avoid
in it.
ad homing then. Sure. So you are being performative and you're weaponizing oppressed people to protect yourself. And I'll give you an example of why. It's pretty simple, right? You're right now purporting to care about women and purporting to care about using slurs and words that are harmful to women, while at the same time
I'm pointing out you're a contradiction.
Whereas multiple times you have gone around suggesting
This is an internal. I was internally critiquing you. You're
suggesting
100% wrong about what's happening here. I was internally critiquing you. You're the person that says, "Oh, you do these harmful things, but you use these. But you use these
for being
terms."
sexist for saying dry sand in a vagina? Did I ever call you out on that? So how was I being inconsistent?
Because you're calling me you're saying that I do all of these things right now.
When
but
did I
you
call
do
you out
these
for
things.
Using, hang on. When you're saying you're calling me out,
You're
on my
saying I
inconsistency.
am a misogynist
Please,
and
I'll
all
just
these
stop
other
again.
things.
I'll stop again.
Yeah, you said that I am a misogynist and all these other things. Meanwhile, and I oppress marginalized groups or whatever. Meanwhile, you use derogatory terms that are gendered. So you're a hypocrite. That was the point of it.
Great. So do you agree that you are someone who doesn't actually care about that issue and you're only using it in order to bring credibility?
These people in the chat, these fucking idiots in the chat, Peterson is so emotional. Like, I do get really annoyed with him. You guys have seen me be insulted by people, and I only lose my mind with people that are just completely illogical, because I don't care what idiots think. And I don't care what this idiot thinks, like, about me personally. It bugs me that they don't know how to think.
To me, because you're going around
Look at this. Stop trying to speak for women, Irish. I love that.
saying that when a man who you don't like
I wish I would have had a woman up here that could have told him that.
is saying things that you disagree with, that you attack them by saying they have dry sand in their vagina.
I
Doesn't
think
that
it's
sound
fine, but I'm
overtly
not the
sexist?
SJW. You are, so you're the inconsistent one.
Well, you seem to be labeling a lot of people these days. I'm not an SJW.
All he's done is label me. And yes, he is.
What's made you think I'm an SJW?
Well, you sound like a duck.
Okay, what does an SJW sound like?
Like you. Pretty bad
Can
on
you
my part.
elaborate?
The emotional, irrational insults and reasoning. You said, oh, these fucking middle-class white guys. You literally said middle-class white people are colonizers. Okay? That is SJW type language. So why would I think anything else? That's all I need. Do you think
Great.
that all
And
white
so
people
do
are
you
colonizers?
Do you want to inform?
Do you think that all white people are colonizers? And if not, why did you say it?
Prove right now that I said all white people are colonizers.
I had the receipts. I don't know what he was thinking he was going to get away
Prove
with.
right now that I said
Yeah,
that all white people are colonizers.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up. He didn't say
Sure thing.
all, but
That ain't the one.
I kind of screwed that up because at first I said what he truly said, and then I said all, but like potato,
That ain't the
tomato.
one.
Yeah, guys, I know this isn't productive, but for some reason this is the direction he wants to go.
Your whole platform is designed to entertain boring middle-class white dudes. Colonizers are your bread and butter.
And what was that said in response to?
Me sarcastically saying you're a colonizer. So you
Exactly.
So you
called me a
unironically-
colonizer. You called me a
Yeah,
colonizer.
and you agree that middle-class
and I
white
used
people
your
are
words back at
colonizers.
You called me a colonizer, and I used that word right back at you. And now you're playing victim, like you're like.
No,
what
I'm
you
not
want from me?
playing a victim. You're so goddamn stupid. So at this point, the live got shut down. But yeah, I'm not sure if we come back to this actually in the next clip. But yeah, no, I'm not trying to play a victim or anything. I'm just saying I'm trying to adopt his tactic to dismiss what he has to say. Because that's what he does. That's what they do. What do you mean, you people? A white person saying, oh, these fucking white people. A middle-class colonizer by his own label saying that I don't want to hear or I don't care what colonizers or whatever think. It's like he's the Jesse Lee Peterson of white people. If you don't know who Jesse Lee Peterson is, that's probably for the best. He's basically Clayton Bigsby. He's a black white supremacist.
So going back to the topic, I feel like we're jumping around a lot, and my concern is that you suggested you'd be ending the live, and I'm worried. I'm happy to talk about all.
I never said that, except when I said if you ad hom again.
The topics, right? But I'm concerned that you're going to end the live, and I'm not going to be able to get into the meat and potatoes. If you can make a commitment that we will continue talking about each of these topics, then I'm happy to go through any issues you want to go through. But I want to make sure we don't avoid the Man Be Fair video you did.
I have no problem talking about anything I've ever put out. He thought he was really saying something there. Like I'm going to talk about this later. He did this live stream where he says, I guarantee Peterson this, that, the other thing. And like, he's a fucking goon. He was wrong about literally everything. And this is just another case of that. He thinks he's so incredibly important, and that's because he's a white knight. He's just, oh, God.
Well, you said earlier that you will drop me, and so that's putting me on edge and limiting how it is I can act and what I can talk about. So I'm asking
Bro's literally edging
if
right
we're going to talk about... Sorry, what was that?
I said you're edging right now. It's a joke. It's funny.
Okay. Yeah, the audience
I'm laughing at myself.
So my question to you is, I'm happy to go through whichever issues you want to. I'd suggest, it seems like you got a lot of issues. Why don't we go one by one and focus on each one?
Okay.
You seem to have had a lot of screenshots ready to go through that you wanted to go through, right? So
yeah, to point out hypocrisies. Like you unironic. I don't know if you were joking or not joking. Do you think that white people are colonizers?
I think that I don't really get to have an opinion on it because of the fact
But you get to be offended on behalf of women and minorities and everything else?
I can't finish.
This is so stupid.
Can I finish?
Yeah?
Sure.
Well, if you're edging, you're not supposed to finish. That's kind of the point of edging. I can't believe how much of a joyless fuck he is.
I was waiting for you to put in the laugh track in order to let people know that was a joke. I apologize.
Oh, they actually have that on here. Hold on.
You may want to add it for the audience.
They really do have like laugh track sound effects on TikTok. I couldn't find them though. Hold on.
Without the laugh track, no one's really understanding these are jokes. So
Carlotta thought it was funny. Carlotta hates me.
I think she's laughing at my joke, not yours. But
I didn't know who she was.
The point that I was making regarding the term colonizer. Do I rationally or logically believe that all white people are colonizers? I don't rationally or logically believe that because there's some groups of white people that were not involved in colonization, right? But when people who are minorities or from colonized areas use that statement, when they say all white people are colonizers, I understand, and I don't personalize it. I don't take it as an insult towards me. I recognize what they're speaking.
Is it a racist stereotype?
Can I just finish? I'll answer that question afterwards. I'm not going to run from a question.
Okay.
You be trustful. I'm never going to run from a question. And so I understand that where they're speaking from is a place of trauma and distrust. And so I don't invalidate the fact that they feel like that and that is, the experience that they have. Do I consider myself a colonizer? No, I think the Irish were the only group that didn't colonize people, right? But I'm not going to get triggered by it, feel like it's a personal attack, or take any time out of my day to tell a indigenous group or a minority group, that they're wrong or bad for saying that.
So some of that sounded reasonable until the very end, understanding why somebody would be angry and think like, or like say something like that or think like that, until the very end where he's like, ooh, like he just wants to be, how do I want to say, he wants to get walked on, right? I wonder if he like fantasizes about like humiliation porn or something like that. That seems to be like, ooh, tread all over me. Ooh, people of color around the world. He's a pick me, right? He's like, ooh, pick me, oppressed people. Let me be your token snowflake in your beautiful palette of color, and let me keep you as my token people of color, and I will wear you like Pokemon badges so I can say how good of a person I am, even though all of my relationships with oppressed people are only on the internet and they're not even real. I don't even know any of their real names, just their usernames. What a pathetic capitulation to a racial stereotype. I gotta say, that's insane. You just let people,
You
if
think
they look a certain way, you're okay with people perpetuating gross racial stereotypes. So the problem is, he thinks he can't be racist to white people, or to colonizers, which is insane because because he is one or whatever, but he doesn't think that he is one, but he thinks that that's what they are, but he doesn't literally think that they are, except... I wish I would have remembered this because it's complete bullshit, because that's what he said, that middle-aged white or middle-class white people are colonizers. Now, maybe he was being sarcastic, but I actually don't think so.
You think that's a gross racial stereotype?
Calling somebody a colonizer based on the color of their skin is a gross racial stereotype.
I disagree with that characterization.
Then you're fucking insane.
A gross racial... You think
yes!
white people is a gross racial stereotype.
Colonization was brutal, right? It was a horrendous thing that was done, right? We agree on that.
I mean,
so to throw somebody in with that based on the color of their skin is a gross racial stereotype.
Great. So
you're an unserious person if you can't admit that, or just, I don't know, like...
Great. So let me ask you a question. Why is it on yesterday's live, when you got emotional with what I was saying, you decided to call me a colonizer? Can you explain that inconsistency for me?
I was satirizing your position. Satire is a completely legitimate method of getting a point across. We went over this with the Gaza headline from The Onion.
Got it. It was satire. I'm sorry. I didn't realize.
Yes, you did realize. Now you're just being a sarcastic... I was going to say cunt. See, I controlled myself there.
I'm also shocked. So going back to the topic of colonizers, is there any other questions you want to ask me about that?
I don't think so.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about before we get on to the Man v. Bear? The famine joke that you made, the fact that you said that it's okay for white people like yourself to tell jokes about black people and the Holocaust. Other than those things, do you want to talk about those things, or do you want to get...
He admitted that those things are fine if you're a professionally trained comedian.
To the Man v. Bear.
Sure. You know how do you watch Saturday Night Live?
Uh-huh.
So you know how Colin and Che, is it?
Yep, where they
Che?
write each other's jokes.
Okay, is that racist? I was trying to remember if it's Shay or Che. I don't know what made me think it was Shay.
No, but I think it's a microaggression.
Why not?
I think it's a microaggression that you knew the white guy's name, but not the black guy's name. But hey,
microaggression.
What do I know?
So we never got into this, but I was going to try to ask him, you know, Colin says super racist jokes that Michael writes for him, right? So this was, I was going to try to have a formal discussion about that, because it's like, okay, I could see how it's okay for Michael to make those jokes, but not like a white person or whatever. But the whole premise of that, and Michael gives Colin permission to do these jokes, and it's a fucking TV show, and if you don't like it, you don't have to watch, and all this other stuff, right? So I was gonna try to just like get him to admit that you don't actually believe that it's never okay for, I mean, Colin's a millionaire. He's a privileged white colonizer if there ever was one, right? So I was trying to get to the point where you could get him to admit you don't actually believe this shit. There are people you don't like me, and you just think that I don't have the right to say anything that's even remotely offensive to anybody unless it's to myself or people that look like me.
I know.
Microaggression. Yeah, no, what do you know? Jack shit.
Especially given the fact that Che's the funny one, but okay. Do you just, like, not know black people, generally speaking?
See, Michael's jokes on Saturday Night Live are funnier, but I think it's just because they're, like, so much more outrageous. And I think Colin's, like, pretty terrified to make Michael sound, like an Uncle Tom or something like that. I think he's pretty scared to do that. Saying Peterson is a racist person.
No. So,
yeah,
I think a lot of
his first name is Michael, also. I couldn't remember.
His name.
What's that?
So now you remember his name. Got it.
Well, no, somebody typed it up there. So, God, this is just, these strategies are so pathetic. I'm gonna wait baitedly for anything that comes up and be like, you're a racist microaggression.
What a burden your life is. How hard your life must be. That sometimes
See, here we go. Here's more of it.
Like.
You're a privileged person, so I can mock you in any sense that I can. I was raped once. You want to make fun of me for being a rape victim because I'm a white man? It doesn't matter. Go ahead. Go right ahead. Go right ahead. Go right ahead. Poor you.
Jesus Christ. Can I finish?
Yeah.
No, but you weaponize your own grape in order.
I couldn't fucking believe. No, I don't.
That they choose the bear over the man, and I thought
no,
that was
I literally don't.
Despicable. Yeah, you did.
No, I don't.
In your video, you literally said that your experience as someone who's been raped allows you to speak for victims. And then
I am a victim. I speak on my own behalf, you dumbass. No, because you say things that are false. This was pretty offensive. It's so incredibly gross. And it's also just logically just so incredibly stupid. But I don't know. I'll just let the past me talk. For lying, I know, but you are trying to construct a man of straw that is not me. And you're telling everybody that this is what I am.
Perhaps you would agree it is rational and reasonable to not interrupt and to allow people to make their full statements before responding.
I interrupt liars. I interrupt liars all the time and disingenuous pieces of shit like you.
What did I lie about?
That I am weaponizing. That I am weaponizing my experience.
You didn't like how I characterized it. I'll characterize it like this. What you did do was you made a video where you said,
"Fucking actual piece of shit." Like claiming that somebody's weaponizing that is just it's not even it's so much worse than victim blaming. It's like, oh, you're using an event like that to try to get something out of whatever. That's like somebody suing Harvey Weinstein and then somebody being like, oh, you're just doing this for clout or to get rich or something like that. Like, what a fucking scumbaggy thing to say. And then he backtracks like the little bitch that he is. And he's like, oh, you just didn't like how I characterized it. A total capitulation on his part.
Women are wrong for choosing the bear. And then you said that because you've been a victim of rape.
Shut the fuck up. I never said that I get to speak on behalf of other people who have experienced trauma. But that's exactly what he does. You are an actual piece of shit if you think that.
Didn't you literally invalidate other women who are speaking from?
I said I have this experience, so am I not allowed to say what my thoughts about these types of experiences are?
Why did you say it?
I just told you.
Why? What was the value you were trying to bring to the conversation?
Do you think all women are the same?
What was the value you were trying to bring to the
I'm answering your question. Do you think all women are the same?
No.
Do you think that there are women who have or have not had horrible experiences like that don't pick the bear?
Sure.
So you're not the ambassador of women's thoughts and what they think and what they go through, are you?
Oh,
so when somebody says that there may be
was that a question?
No, it was a statement. is a rhetorical statement, or like a rhetorical question, kind of. So you don't get to say, you're not the one that gets to declare people are offended by this and they find it offensive, and nobody else is allowed to give a type of perspective on this because it doesn't even match with reality according to you. There are people, women, don't have to even take my word for it, that have had these experiences and think differently of it. And you completely try to invalidate whatever I say because I'm a man. And you try to invalidate whatever I say even though I'm a victim by saying I tried to weaponize it, pretending that all women are just this homogenous group that are always going to think the same, that you can just white knight for them. Disgusting.
Oh, white knighting. I'm shocked that you also use that term. So I have a question for you, Peterson. I didn't think I'd have to ask this question. Are you a woman?
No.
Okay, great. The question was to women about women, right? So what did you, being an SA victim, have to do with it? Because you said not all women are
That's not what it's about.
monolith, right? In order to defend you, bringing up the fact that you, a man, had been raped by a woman, and you did that to invalidate women's experience, and you did that in order to be able to prioritize your own point of view over what the majority of women are saying. Yes, you weaponized your
I don't think it's a majority.
SA to silence the voice of women. That's exactly what you did.
No, because I thought the whole thing was talking about the experience of trauma with being sexually assaulted. So yeah, he's completely wrong. It's not about being a woman. They are rationalizing their choice based on those things, based on what they know, like if it hasn't happened to them, what they know is possible, or if it has happened to them. It's not about, he's going to say here in a second, it's about being a woman. That's absolutely not the case. Because like there are things that every single woman shares that they have in common, right? But those things obviously aren't what inform the choice of choosing man or bear, right? Like it couldn't be. That's completely stupid. It's about experiences and like their decision and their opinion and their feelings or whatever are informed by experiences. And that's what I was saying, and that's why I brought up myself. I've been sexually assaulted. So despite the fact that I've gone through that, is it possible to rationalize or to reasonably come to a different conclusion? It is.
Sure. It's not about being a victim of SA. That's not what the men.
It's about being. That's absolutely what it is.
It's about exactly, which you're not, Peterson. Correct?
I don't think so. You want to see?
No. So no. Oddly enough, I don't have a microscope with me in order to be able to examine the goods.
See, there you go.
My question for you. Oh, I'm sorry. That was an ad.
That was a microaggression. Actually, people like you are the reason men commit suicide.
But I'm so proud of that. I'm so proud of that.
Goodbye, you literal, actual human garbage piece of shit. I don't know. Well, You're the reason people commit suicide. I'm glad of that. You're clipped. I will not talk to somebody like that.
I got a little emotional.
Sorry.
There.
I was going to go through everything. I was going to let him insult me in whatever way he wanted, but that is absolutely not going to happen. So, yeah, what do I want to say about that? I don't know exactly what it was, but that was just like, I'm talking to somebody that I simply will not associate myself with anymore at that point. Now, if you think that's the end of it, no, not even close. After this, he proceeded to do this. I think they had to have done it for like at least 6 hours. It was a live stream, and it was all about me. They were so obsessed with me. They had a picture of me up there, and they just... I can't believe that they spent 6 hours or whatever doing this. But people on my Discord were watching it and talking about it, and every once in a while I would check in there for a couple minutes to see what was going on. And I heard him and the others say that I really actually should kill myself. One of the funnier things was Irish was like, I guarantee Peterson has lost thousands of followers since he uploaded the bear video. I've gained like 25,000 since then in just a few days, so blow me. Talking about they need to get my channel deleted. They hope that that's what happens or whatever. Just called me racist in so many different ways. This one person was saying, oh, he says the hard R for sure. Like fuck you. You don't know anything about me. I have a pedophile haircut. I'm ugly. My beard sucks. I run an after-school program where I abduct children and things like that. I can't even... micro penis stuff, insecurity, like whatever.
Or
But
you
when
could
I
just be a dick.
When I have a little whiny bitch like him saying, you're the reason why I want to unalive myself, and he's like, give me empathy, when he's offering no empathy to anyone who's not a white dude. Like, how am I meant to be nice towards that, Mac?
Honestly, in that case,
You're not.
your small peen would be the reason. Not
He's
the fact
not,
that
like-
you pointed it out.
Is he short?
He doesn't look short.
Okay.
What I said earlier was that by the way, Annabelle, it's cute, Peterson, that you're so fucking insecure that you can't come in here on your real account, that you have to make troll accounts. Like, grow up. Like,
Do
what
I
the hell?
I don't give a
But
fuck, Keisha.
what I said about his face was that it's giving. I would not trust leaving my child with him in an after-school program that I'm confident he works in. Right? It's not for the benefit of protecting people like this insecure baby bitch dick. It's not for his purpose. If he's
But
going to
that's
go
also,
around
like-
talking shit about women and trying to exploit black people in order to be able to support his sexist points of view, why should I give a shit about pointing out the fact that he's got grapey eyes? Or he's
And
got
I've
like...
never presented myself as somebody who wouldn't go that low. That's what I'm saying. Like, don't expect.
When he said this was a famine, I just tried to explain to him that it was actually a result of English policies. That's all. I wasn't crying. So I'm not going to cry about that. I think it's an insensitive joke. And he decides to play the hero on behalf of marginalized communities, while he himself has a video right now saying that if you believe the bear is safer, you are a racist and you're no different than a white person who will cross the street if they see a black person. This is a dangerous, manipulative, abusive guy, in my opinion.
It was really funny. There was like this one time when I came in there and somebody must have been pointing out, like, it's insane how you guys will like body shame and do all of this other stuff while you claim you don't believe in that. And I can't remember what his rationalization was. It was something like, the body shaming, it's not for... What did he say? I swear he said something like, it's not for Peterson or something like that, which doesn't make any sense. But it was like, basically he was trying to not sound like a hypocrite in a really weird roundabout way by saying like, because I'm me, insert whatever adjectives he wants to describe me, then it's totally fine, because the shaming's not being used against an oppressed person, it's against an oppressor, so therefore it's fine. I don't know. The dude has like 20 accounts. I don't know why. I just had to block him. I can't deal with it anymore because it's impossible to talk to him. The harassment is just like disturbing at this point. And I can't talk to him because the live streams, that second live stream there got shut down too. It's impossible to talk to him because he can't be rational or anything, and every single time I try, the live stream just gets shut down or whatever. So, yeah, that was that whole event. There's a lot more I could say about it probably, but it was a pretty long video. So, hopefully you enjoyed the drama. I don't know. We'll see what happens in the future. See ya.